Well, good evening, internets. It's me, DP Knudten, for another exciting edition of BOOKWARD BOUND, my 301-day journey from I should really do this to done. And what is that done? That done is the creation of a brand new book that will be published on Amazon's Kindle direct publishing platform in via press-ready files that I'll be uploading on January 1st, 2021. Just in time for the brand new year, a brand new book. And how am I getting that book done? I'm coming down here and working on it every single night for 301 consecutive days. And in fact, I think this might be episode, let's see, today's 16, 17, 18, 164. Episode 164 or 165. That's a whole lot of consecutive days working on a book. But that's the way I'm actually getting this thing done, with your help, because you're providing the peer pressure necessary to actually get my butt down here and get this work done. So what am I going to be doing tonight? Well, some nights I write, some nights I edit, some nights I do outlining and stuff like that. Well, tonight I'm going to be working on a section that I started last night in Scrivener. Now, Scrivener is the application I'm using to actually work on this book, and it looks a little something like this. Right here, the main window is where you do the writing, and then over on the side is where you've got all your sections or chapters or whatever you want to call them laid out. So I'm working on a section about Justin Baker, someone that I've had on my Nonfiction Brand podcast, and I want to write about how he works with actors and voiceover artists out in Hollywood and Los Angeles to build their personal brands via social media. Because guess what? Actor A has 5 social media fans. Actor B has 50,000. Actor B just might get the job because they have the bigger network and more fans and more heat behind them as properties that could be involved in the actual production that they're looking at doing. So I'm going to read through this quote. When I heard the above, I just had to learn more. It makes perfect sense that a popularity-based industry like show business would be paying close attention to the social popularity of stars. But the fact that focus has effects on the casting of faceless voice actors was a bit of a surprise to me. Unlike on-screen actors whose faces, voices, and personas in general public perceptions play a huge role in casting decisions, I thought voiceover artists were relatively immune from such fickle measures of public interest and approval. And that's where Justin set me straight. If they're in an interview, for instance, they set me straight. The more social following you have, the better. And that applies to the people who make the voice characterizations behind the goofy characters on screen too. But here's where it gets challenging. While most live action productions can see a pretty significant delay between principal photography and final post-production. It's typically a lot longer for animated productions, like years. It could take literal years from the day the voice over artist performs is recorded until the premiere date of the finished film. It could take literal years from the day. I don't need the word literal in there. It could take years from the day. And that be a real challenge for those artists looking to keep feeding the beast that is their social media presence. There's a lot to consider and a lot of landmines and pitfalls to watch out for. This is where what I call strategic authenticity comes in. Oh, I gotta look up Carlos. How do you spell Carlos Alazraqui? Safari. Carlos Alazraqui. I may have spelled it correctly. Alazraqui. Yeah. Yep, that's him, Carlos Jaime Alazraqui. You know, if they're in an interview, for instance, let's say they're being interviewed by AV Club, like you brought up, there are certain things we can say and certain things we can't say. So I know ahead of time, because I've been alerted by the social team at Nickelodeon, that what we can say and what we can't. And I always check ahead of time. And so I'll tell Carlos, you can say this, but you can't say that. Just a reminder. So that way he's aware, and I'm on that all the time. So my job is in the background, being on top of characterization, what release dates are, what we can say, what we can't say, and also what are the things that we want to put out there. So I'm constantly getting emails and phone calls from Disney, DreamWorks, Nickelodeon Cartoon Network from their team, because they know I help to manage my voice actors, and they're the ones saying, hey, could you put this on the social calendar for these people, or let them know? We want to make sure they have this information, the date, the time, and can you put it in your own voice? Let's make it, and put it in your own voice. And so we help my actors craft this announcement that's personalized for them, but also containing the important information. What? That's check authenticity. Where the rubber hits the road. All right, so that's going to be a new subsection. What Justin talking about there is telling the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth when the time is right. Were Carlos Alazraqui let's make sure I get that right. Alazraqui, yeah. Were Carlos Alazraqui to be 100% authentic, 100% of the time, he'd be leaving a recording session and tweeting, Insta, Facebooking about it in real time in a way that could cause him a real pain. If he spilled the proverbial beans about a hush production well in advance of its of any planned media rollout. Do that enough times as a talent in Hollywood, and you won't be working for anyone there ever again. Notice that I'm not saying anything about creating a false persona or manufactured a persona or sharing untruthful information. It's just that any personal brand needs to always include some level of professional filter in order to preserve maximal flexibility and respect within the industry. Authenticity. TMI's much smarter social media sibling. So I gave a presentation today about this and came up with this TMI's smarter sibling or something like that. So I'm just going to blow that out a little bit in here. Thin, loose lips, sink ships, and ruin careers. And crater careers just as quickly. Just as quickly. I think it's important to flesh out this concept further because the prevalent definition of authenticity is bandied about with abandon. And tends to focus on the gooey side of things. A little too much. All righty. I'm just curious. Where are people watching? Hello, Twitch. It says I got 3 viewers, but in anyway. Hi, guys. I'm just little too much, as in too much information. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I'm all for sharing freely of yourself, but again, including that professional filter alongside your personal post. Persona. Think about it. We all have that one friend or family member who takes a desire to be truly authentic as license to be the borderline to be the borderline. What I want to use a good word here. Douche is the right word, but dictionary. When you get stuck, pull up the dictionary, hit the thesaurus, and look up jerk. Verb. No. Dipstick. Oh, there's some great ones in here. No, it's more than jerk. It's nobody has had. Borderline dipstick. I'm going to keep it dipstick. Under the guise of Keeping it real. We launch into keeping it real. They share way too freely with information that is best left between them, their spiritual advisor, doctor, or deity. It's such a fine line between a great vulnerable share and too much information and a too much information train wreck. But like Justice Potter Stewart's definition of pornography, I know it when I see it. We all, don't need a capital W there, dang it. We all have finely attuned TMI detectors built in. That's really what strategic authenticity is about. Making sure that you take your authentic self right up to the line but without falling over the edge. Justin plays this TMI detector role with his clients on a daily basis comma, but long before he puts up the first post in the voice of his client, he insists on spending a full 6 months getting to know that client, and in fully creating a documented personal brand foundation for the artist. He uses a questionnaire to probe deeply into all areas of his client's personal and professional life. Things like he covers the gamut, including things like family, do we share the names, activities of kids? How much do we share, and about whom? Who? Do we share the names of and activities of kids? No, let's leave that out. Family. About who? Partner. Partner's name. Kids. Pets. Oops. That should not be Apple symbols. It should be Baskerville. Or actually, Palatino. That's what I'm using. Charity. Any pet causes? We promote them publicly? All right, so I'm going to fill out this I think I'll fill it out tomorrow because I'm not feeling it right now. Yeah, I'm done. 35 minutes. 35 minutes. That's cool. You know, because I'm doing this every night for 301 nights. I'm not going to burn myself out because I find that a lot of writers do that. They write until they're exhausted and then they never want to do it again. So instead, I do about half an hour, 45 minutes, maybe an hour, and then I hang it up for the night because, frankly, I worked all day. I don't want to work all night, and I need my brain to recharge because that should not be discounted. You need time for this old thing to recharge its mental energy because writing is a very focused activity. I once worked with another writer who claimed that any good writer could only focus for 2 hours a day. And I think you could probably get that to 4 hours. But anything beyond that and you're just kind of blah, 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 playing word scrabble, word arranging instead of actual writing. So I totally get letting your brain go fallow for a little bit. And that's what I'm going to do right now. So I'm going to say goodnight. In fact, this is it for this evening. But I do want to say I'm DP Knudten. Thanks for watching. And thanks for helping keep myself honest in working on this book. Also, check out the Nonfiction Brand the Nonfiction Brand podcast, which came out yesterday, because it features Justin Baker, about whom I've just been writing. And it's the second half of 2 episodes that we did together. Episode 103 was last Monday's episode. Episode 104 is this week's episode. Listen to them both back to back, and you'll get a good about 45-minute to 50-minute discussion about how he's working with people like Carlos Alazraqui, who's an internationally known voiceover talent, and how he's doing it to boost his personal brand via social media. So that's what this book is about, building a personal brand. And Justin's about doing it for people whose livelihoods truly do depend on it. So it makes for a very interesting episode. That's it for me tonight. I'm going to say goodnight and see you tomorrow. But until then, theme music, take us on out.